1974. Shoot, that's when Mom was born. It was in 1774. That's it. October 24th, 1774.
Dory, dear, I'm going downstairs now. I think dinner's almost ready. Dory, what are you doing? I thought school was out for the term, which in my day meant no more books.
Granny, I want to enter the history contest. The one about Edenton's history. I'm having trouble memorizing all this stuff. No one can remember all these names and dates. And who cares? I live here. That's all the history I need to know, right? It's just miles and miles from the nearest mall. Forget about being close to an amusement park. That's all the facts I need to know or anybody needs to know.
Well, I don't believe you feel that way, really, Dory. As far as remembering all these facts about our town, I did it, and I still have my medal to prove it. So did your mother, and your great-grandmother, and so did your brother.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Mr. Wonderful strikes again. That's another thing. Kevin. I have to follow him in everything. There's nothing he can't do. How do you think that makes me feel?
Dory, your grades are as good as his were at your age. That's quite an accomplishment. And he tells me there are lots of things that you do better than he can.
Like what?
Well, it's been a couple of years since he could outswim you, and you're not as big or as old as he is. That's a good accomplishment, my dear. I hear you're quite the swimmer.
Great. When the Edenton Historical Commission decides to fill the auditorium with water, let me know. I'll outswim everybody. Just don't ask me questions about history. Granny, do you know a trick or technique to use to remember all these facts, all these names and dates? I can't seem to grasp them or keep them in my head. I'm really worried. Contest is in 2 weeks. I'm running out of time.
Dory, who initiated the first political act by a woman in America? There's a house down by the bay that used to be her home.
That's Penelope Barker. I know that. Mom volunteers to work there sometimes. That happened in 1774 on October 24th. Town has celebrations in October to remember.
Very good, Dory. What's the name of the house that has the herb garden and the flower garden you and I like to sit in? And there's that pomegranate tree that you like to look at.
It's the Gula house. I love that tree.
That is correct. So, don't worry too much about this contest. Oh, wait, no, my dear. You must know. When was that house built? Who built it? And why? I'm sure there are questions on the test to this day about that.
Sign in the front says 1758. I don't remember who built it or why. The answer's got to be here somewhere.
After dinner, look up the answer and write it down. I find it helps me remember things if I write them down first. And don't worry too much about this contest, dear. You're a smart girl. You'll do fine. Just study.
Thanks, Granny.
Dinner's almost ready, I think. You really should come to the dining room. Your mother asked me to make the salad, so I'm going to start that now.
Okay, tell Mom I'll be right back. that answer about the cupola house. Let's see. Cupola house. Cupola house. Wait a minute. All these books are about Penelope Barker and that petition. I know I have books on other subjects. This is crazy. Who cares about Penelope Barker?
Well, I do most certainly, my dear.
Who are you? Where did you come from?
My name is Penelope Barker, my dear, and I am a native of Edenton, North Carolina. I was here when this was a province of England, and I was here when the country in which you were born was created.
Okay, I know about you.
And my dear young miss, I know all about you, although you are not as yet famous. You are Pandora Charlotte Roberts. You are, however, called Dory, and you have needed me, apparently.
Have need of... Oh, the contest. The historical quiz. That's what this is about. I'm losing my mind. Of course I know about you, Mrs. Barker. You're famous.
I enjoyed a bit of fame in my lifetime. I was, after all, one of the wealthiest women in North Carolina. My life was not without its sorrows, having outlived my children. But I had a full life, and I loved Edenton. My vanity is more than a little pleased to hear I remembered.
Remembered? Oh, yes. The petition you sent to the English newspapers is considered the first political act by women in the New World.
The petition was drafted by me because I felt it important that England know the people of Edenton had no intention of buying products from them. Products inflated in price by unreasonable taxes. Dory, more than a few people living in Edenton and the surrounding counties could afford to drink tea and buy silks and satins arriving on ships from England. The English Parliament needed to know these products would not be purchased as they had been in the past, because the women of North Carolina felt the protesters to these taxes were right to do so.
Mrs. Barker, I know that there were 51 women from this and 4 surrounding counties that all signed that petition with their real names. I think I read that it only took 9 days for all the signatures to be gathered. And I saw the cartoon that was published in the English newspapers that depicted you, well, as someone who's not very nice.
That cartoon, which bore no likeness to me whatsoever. I was humiliated.
I'm sure you were. But it was for the best, Mrs. Barker. Because of that cartoon, everybody knew of your brave act and of the bravery of the other signers of the petition. You were held in high esteem because of that. Your house is now a place where people go to learn about life in Edenton and the rest of the colonies, really, during your lifetime.
Goodness me, it's nice to hear. But I wasn't the only person living in Edenton who did memorable things, Dory. Dory, why are you not called by your proper name? Pandora? Or Charlotte, perhaps? Both are lovely names. The name you were called would be one chosen for a servant, would it not?
Maybe so, back when. But shortened versions of one's name are common now. They're called nicknames. I'm sure you were sometimes called Penny for short.
No one would have dared, my dear. My name's Penelope, and so I was called all my life.
I think I'll continue to call you Mrs. Barker. My mom would ground me for using your first name.
That would be most proper, Dory. One doesn't want to be drowned? That sounds horrible.
Well, nicknames are common now. You would be Penny for sure, but only called that by family and close friends. Now, you were about to tell me about other prominent citizens of Edenton that I should know about?
Yes, too many to name in total, Dory.
I do have another question.
Yes.
Well, I don't know any other way to ask this, but were you a ghost?
Oh, my dear girl, do you believe in ghosts?
Well,
figment of your imagination.
Figment of my imagination. So, you are my idea of Penelope Barker?
Precisely.
Great, I have a big problem.
How so?
If you are a figment of my imagination, that's what you really are, then you only know what I know. I've already signed up to be in the contest, and everyone's expecting me to be there. And you only know what I know, which is very, very little. I'm in deep trouble.
Hardly.
What do you mean, hardly? If you only know what I know, you don't know much.
My point is you know more about your hometown than you think you do. Think, Dory. You've grown up surrounded by history. You've been told all the stories, all the facts, as you put it, either from your teachers over the years or from other people living in Edenton. Your own parents, Dory, have told you a lot. Your mother seems to know all there is to know about Penelope Barker. Well, me.
You think so? You think I know a lot?
I am certain. You just have to try to remember. It's all there in your memory, ready for you to remember.
Dory, dear. The salad's ready. It's on the table. Your mother's putting the rolls in the oven. I think you should come down to the dining room now, dear.
Okay. I've just been reading and looking things up. And by the way, the cupola house was built by Francis Corbin, who was harbor master, appointed by the last English Lord Proprietor, Robert Carteret, who was also the Earl of Granville. The house was designed so that Francis Corbin could see the ships anchored in the harbor. And there are streets in Edenton named after Carteret and his earldom. Granville Avenue.
Very good, Dory. I knew you could figure that out. Bravo.
Thanks, Granny. Tell Mom I'll be right down. I just need to wash my hands.
Very well, Dory. These steps are getting steeper every time I have to come up here. While you're studying here, though, before I forget, be sure to learn all you can about James Iredale and James Wilson. And then there's Joseph Hughes, who signed the Declaration of Independence, and Dr. Hugh Williamson, who helped compose the U.S. Constitution. They worked here in Edenton at some pretty important times, and I do remember questions on the test about them when I took it, but that was decades ago.
I know some of those names, especially James Iredale, Senior and Junior.
Well, Iredale Jr. was important because he was governor of North Carolina. But concentrate more on Iredale Sr. He was here at an important time and did some very significant things.
Iredale Senior. I'll remember.
Come on down now.
James Iredale Senior and James
You embarrass yourself, sir. There was no other outcome possible. My decision in that matter was made with all germane issues considered.
Iredale, I refuse to discuss this matter further. I merely think that your decision was based on circumstantial evidence rather than objective evidence plainly presented. If you remember, in the last motion for the plaintiff,
Please excuse us, milady. We did not mean to alarm you.
most certainly not.
It's okay, Mr. Iredale. You're here to help me. I understand that you are figments of my imagination.
Oh, if that be true, young miss, could you not have imagined me taller? Perhaps more muscular?
I'm sorry, Mr. Iredale.
Surely you mean Justice Iredale, Dory?
Yes, Justice Iredale. I am sorry, but your picture, well, portrait on Wikipedia is very small.
And not Justice Wilson's.
Well, I've never seen a picture of Mr. Justice Wilson. I guess he's just an amalgamation of all the colonial men I've seen in drawings and paintings.
Really? An amalgamation? My word. My... Why? Penelope Parker. James Wilson, at your service, madam. Ah, of course. You failed to recognize me in my amalgamated state. No doubt you recognize my friend, the diminutive James Ardell.
Understandable, my dear Wilson. The lady and I are acquainted. You, however, did little more for Edenton than die here. Am I not correct? History can be a cruel thing, Wilson, old friend.
My signature is on the Declaration of Independence of these United States. That must stand for something, merit some degree of recognition.
Dory here.
Oh, sorry, Granny, I'm coming. Okay, I have to go eat dinner. Don't touch anything. This is my room.
Do not worry, my dear. I will keep order in your absence. Bon appetit. Well, you may leave for a quarter hour. Intermission, you know.